So, the unemployed man became a tree. I lost my last job in July, then spent the rest of the summer working on a tan. With little money left, I searched the want ads until coming across an opening for a tree. The spot was just a few blocks away, near the path that runs along the river. I hurried over to the square patch of dirt in the concrete where the city cut the last tree down, then stood on it, looked around, liked the area, and decided to take the position. Within minutes, my legs went stiff as my feet began to root the soil. My arms branched out, skin became bark. The paper didn't say what kind of tree was needed. Although my limbs looked maple, from the waist down, I was all oak. By evening, I was just about done. I even began thinking like wood. How the bud equal green enough to get the spring going early this year. The only bird I ever cared about was Charlie Parker. Now, I wanted a flock to rest on my limbs, build a nest on the highest branch that sprouted from my ear. A place to call home. A place safe from cats. By evening, the fog that crawled in on his knees was done, and there I was alone, holding up the moon in my branch, shaped like a right hand, for the entire city to see, smiling. I was upstate with my brother's driving, sitting there looking at everything, and it had rained. It was in April, and it had rained for a couple of days. And over on the side of the road there was a sign, a temporary sign that said, "Caution depressed, drain pipes ahead." Yes, you think what I did. Why didn't the county put them in group therapy, right? You'd be safe, you'd be happy with the safer. Anyway, this is called therapy. Once, it was easier to love an entire country rather than just one person. Then he met a girl who chewed gum that snapped in her mouth like tiny firecrackers. Each day he spent with her was the 4th of July. And the first time you slept together was the only time in your life you felt patriotic. You spend too much time thinking about the past, so sometimes it just can't be helped. When the weather report said the temperature would reach the 60s over the next few days, it made you take out your old Beatle albums and play them all week. Therapy is helping you feel and accept what's going on around you now. So when you see another magazine with a member of the royal family on the cover and get disgusted with all the money wasted on them, you have to remind yourself how for years you always wanted to be the next king of swing. You're also learning to make peace with the fact that when the doorbell rings, the poodle in the next apartment will always bark in French instead of English. And now the car horns in heavy traffic along First Avenue in rush hour are beginning to sound more and more like Gershwin every day. I was reading a biography of William James and his other brother. And philosopher, psychologist, a brilliant guy. But I came across something he said. He said, the concept of a soul is a metaphor for man wanting more. You know, this might not be enough. Right? So I think the speaker in this particular poem, maybe by the end of the poem, realized that maybe James has something there. But more importantly, I think he also realizes it's the way that you mourn that can be detrimental to your own life. It's called afterlife. My parents were right about an afterlife. Even though they died 6 years ago, I talk to them every day. Tonight, they are in the living room while I'm in bed with a woman I met in a bar. They're waiting patiently for me. My mom is ironing the pants I flung on the couch, making sure the creases are sharp enough to cut into the apple pie she made me as a kid. My dad sits with the newspaper in his favorite chair, the one I took from their house after it was sold. He likes to open to the obituaries these days, relieved that he's not in them anymore. The woman I'm sweating over was the hottest thing I ever saw just a few drinks ago, and still is, as long as I keep my eyes closed. Her legs keep slapping against my thighs, so I stay on top of her, afraid if I get off she'll begin to fly and bang her head against the wall. If I knew her name, I'd use it. Tell her things like, it's almost time to stop. A couple of minutes, we give up instead. Neither of us could come, and when it is clear she isn't going to go, I ask her to. She gets up, searches for her clothes scattered around the floor as if they exploded. The sweat on her body could be grease, the way she slides into things. And looks into the mirror to fluff up her hair with her fingertips. No matter how hard she tries, it still hangs like the curtain I've been meaning to buy for the bedroom window. I don't even try to explain why I need her to leave, that my parents could never be in the next room after the way cancer be, or how I have so much to discuss with them now that I found out what it really means